Someone says, "We need to talk," and your stomach drops like you just got called into the principal's office. Your phone buzzes. Your heart starts racing. Someone sounds slightly disappointed with you, and suddenly you're mentally preparing a 47-slide presentation proving you're not a terrible person. That's not being sensitive. That's your nervous system acting like it's still trapped in a relationship that already ended. Here's the brutal truth. Narcissists don't just break your heart. They retrain your brain. Even after they're gone, they leave behind habits that feel like personality traits. They convince you you're the problem, then disappear, and leave you trying to fix damage you never caused. If you've ever wondered, why can't I just move on? The answer isn't because you're weak. It's because your mind adapted to survive, and those survival habits don't disappear the moment the relationship does. Here's what that adaptation actually looks like, trait by trait. The first trauma trait is living like danger is always 5 seconds away. Psychologists call this hypervigilance. Your body never truly relaxes. You're always reading faces, listening for changes in someone's tone, trying to predict moods before they happen. Someone replies, "Okay," instead of "okay." Now your brain starts writing a disaster movie. They're upset. I must have done something. I need to fix this. Except nothing happened. Research on narcissistic abuse shows prolonged emotional abuse keeps the body's stress system activated. Your brain learns that peace never lasts, so it prepares for the next emotional explosion, even when there's no explosion coming. Healthy people experience silence as neutral. You experience it as suspicious. That's not intuition, that's conditioning. The second trauma trait is no longer trusting your own reality. This is what gaslighting was designed to do. A term psychologist Robin Stern has written extensively about, describing how repeated reality manipulation slowly disconnects people from their own judgment. A narcissist rarely controls you by proving they're right. They control you by making you doubt yourself. You remember exactly what happened. They say it never happened. You remember how their words hurt. They tell you you're dramatic. Eventually you stop arguing, not because they're convincing, but because you're exhausted. That's why months after the relationship ends, you still ask, "Am I overreacting? Did I read that correctly? Maybe I'm just too sensitive." Notice what happened. You stopped trusting the one person who was actually there, yourself. The third trauma trait is that your self-worth now depends on other people's approval. Before them, you had opinions, boundaries, confidence. After them, you need reassurance just to trust your own decisions. That's not because you suddenly became insecure. It's because narcissists survive by shrinking the people around them. First, they idealize you. Then they slowly convince you nothing you do is enough. The rules keep changing, because the goal was never improvement. It was control. Research consistently shows repeated emotional invalidation gradually destroys self-esteem. So after hearing you're the problem enough times, your brain eventually believes it. Now compliments feel fake. Criticism feels believable. That pattern didn't come from honesty. It came from repetition. The fourth trauma trait is that your body remembers what your mind is trying to forget. Someone slams a door, and your heart starts pounding. A ringtone, a location, a certain phrase. Suddenly, you're emotionally back in a conversation that happened years ago. People think trauma is remembering. Trauma is reliving. Research shows prolonged emotional abuse can leave survivors with symptoms associated with PTSD and complex PTSD. Your body isn't confused. It's responding exactly the way it was trained. The fifth trauma trait is that healthy love starts feeling suspicious. Someone respects your boundaries, and you wonder if they're losing interest. Someone communicates clearly, and it almost feels boring. Someone treats you consistently, and your brain keeps waiting for the catch. Because chaos became familiar, and the brain often mistakes familiar for safe. That's why so many survivors accidentally push healthy people away or feel drawn toward relationships that recreate the same emotional roller coaster, not because they enjoy pain, but because their nervous system still mistakes unpredictability for connection. Psychologists describe this as an attachment system shaped by prolonged emotional manipulation. Your brain learned that love meant earning safety instead of receiving it. That's one of the deepest wounds narcissistic abuse leaves behind, because it doesn't just change who you're drawn to. It changes what normal feels like at a level far below conscious choice. So even when you consciously want peace, some quieter part of you keeps scanning for the storm it got used to surviving. So what actually changes now? Not pretending it didn't happen, not rushing into another relationship. You heal by rebuilding the parts of yourself they trained you to distrust. Learn how manipulation works, so patterns become visible instead of invisible the next time. Reconnect with people who don't make you question your reality. Friends, family, a therapist, anyone whose version of events matches what actually happened. Stop apologizing for surviving. Give your nervous system time to learn that life is no longer an emergency, even when old alarms go off without a real fire attached to them. Because recovery isn't about becoming the person you were before. It's about becoming someone who no longer mistakes survival for love. Here's what I want you to remember. The narcissist's greatest achievement wasn't making you love them. It was making you stop trusting yourself. Healing begins the moment your own voice becomes louder than theirs again, because that's the day they truly lose their power over you. LoveLens.